there are some philosophy. Every business has a philosophy, regardless of how they, how they are in the market, and that reflects.
In today's episode, we have Ajit Ghuman, who went from doing his MS from Stanford and heading the product marketing and packaging at Narvar and Twilio. And now he starts in his new venture last year, which is Get Monetizely, which is developing monetization strategies for software companies.
But if you follow somebody else, how will you unlock your potential? You are unlocking somebody else's potential.
Without a further ado, I welcome Ajit and his wisdom.
So when I look at the topic of pricing, I instinctively knew that this is something I will be good at. And maybe it is because of all of the maths that we are taught as Indians or what have you, right? I knew that I was able to get this thing more better than others who are more confused about it, and things were clicking to me more naturally faster. And I felt nice about it. Like, that's really how it started. And then the second part is intention. I wanted, whatever I want to do, I want to be an expert in, right? How I explore any game or any field is, I want to first have a lot of knowledge, first have a lot of build my base, so that there should be no concepts that are weak. So once I am at that place, then I am able to execute. Now, this is a very personal thing. Some people can have half knowledge and their focus is different, right? They can move faster, but I don't move like that. And I'm giving you the perspective of a game. When I was a kid, I used to play Age of Empires. How two people play that game is going to be very different. I will build an empire, I would build all the armies first, and then I will do like some attack somewhere. But other people will be more like, guerrilla warfare. They will go attack, capture, move. So people live their life differently. For me, when I looked at this thing, I knew that one, I was enjoying it. Two, I knew I'd be good. Then we started a process of, okay, let me build my foundation, let me clear my concepts. And once I did all of that, I came, and my intention was always that I have to be an expert in this. Expertise is where I started from, right? That was my intention. It was not that this has to be a successful business, or none of all those things were never in my head. And even as I build the business, this is still the only thing on my list, that I have to be the best in this, and not even comparatively, like the best I can be. And everything else then will happen as a consequence. Now, if I'm starting with that intention, if there is something that is not clear to me, I will read up more on it. I will learn. If there is something around forecasting I don't know, I will learn. If there are financial metrics that I don't know, I will learn. Whatever that I don't know, I will spend more time in, because I am only coming it from the perspective of, I have to have the full view to be a good consultant, and be able to completely understand this whole domain, right? I wanted to have it in the thumb, in my fingers, and then you don't need to go to anybody else. So that is my desire, right? That is why I learned. So that is what then is able to help me. So all the neurology, algorithm, whatever you were talking about, that will happen on its own.
Got the point. And this obsession, let's say with pricing, if you were, let's say in 2011, back again, would this obsession of pricing could potentially be something else, right? Like, let's say you would have dabbled into another area, right?
Sure.
So it could be anything else. So
Right.
what we do as human beings, is it fundamentally we get to choose that, I want to really do this, like a very conscious choice, or it is like I have been served with seven exposure elements in my surrounding, in the company that I work with, and I can choose one? Or is it something which is much more broader and people go beyond the seven things that they are exposed to, or whatever things that they're exposed to? How was it for you? Or would you have done something differently if you could go back, like 10 years back and whatever? 10.
See, you can only use the experience you're having at a given time to make a future decision, right? Of what you want to do, what you like to do. You can't uh, can create a parallel life and say, oh, what if I had this experience, then I would have done. That is, you start have to start with where you are experiencing to choose what
Mhm.
you like, right? And if it was 10 years earlier, 13 years earlier, what have you, you would always, it would still be certain experiences are happening. I will now choose what I am enjoying more and do more of. That is what I did then also from a career perspective. Now, what is, so that doesn't change. That you will do at any point. And I'm doing pricing now. I may not keep doing it all the time because something else I might find more exciting. Uh, it all, who knows how circumstances evolve. But what I can say is the first part of that, what I was mentioning is that your internal how you're going about life will superimpose into that, right? So let's say you are a young adult, you go in Indian society specifically, you are imposed with expectation of go to IIT, go to this engineering college, go to this, go to that. You are not let to explore what you really want to do. Okay, you may be having experiences. You may be having experiences where you really enjoyed painting or something, right? You may be really enjoyed business, maybe you may be entrepreneurial, and still you will have a huge societal forcing function of no, you have to do engineering. That is what you have to do. You have to. Okay, the have to becomes a problem, and then as a human being, you will say, yeah, I this is otherwise I will not get a job. I have to. Therefore, you will make a selection out of compulsion,
Mhm.
and that will take a long time to play out with you being unhappy. Every such decision, or every decision that you made to keep your parents happy. And then later on, you will also have experiences, but now you may make a decision out of joy, exploration, freedom. That will give you other results.
Mhm. So, following natural inclination will not lead to something that, at least for everybody I know, they have written down something. I want X, Y, Z. It could be anything, no matter where their life. So, following their natural inclination will not leave or lead them to get those X, Y, Z things. While we have been told from the childhood that in order to whatever you want to do or whatever you want to get in life, you have to suffer a lot. It's like a great artist will spend paint for 1000 hours without being given notice. That kind of things is hardcore in our textbooks from the day one. And even if you read a lot of business books these days, they talk about 20,000 hours of practice and what not. So how the idea that you're speaking about is quite different. It looks like it's more towards following your natural inclination and doing what feels good to you, but that might not also always fulfill the needs of the family or needs of your maybe not the society, maybe your own family or your own sustenance could be at risk. So, like, how do you juggle this, or how do anybody who is young or starting up or in the job career, how do they look at this thing, like balance this perspective?
First of all, the thing that you have said, right? This goal you started with, there is some goal people want to accomplish. Whose goal is it? Is it your parents' goal? Is it your goal? Whose goal is it? Is it society's goal? Whose goal? Who created that goal? This investor, you will talk to an investor, they'll say, are you going to make $1 billion? Is that really your goal? Did you wake up yesterday and said, oh, अब तो बस $1 billion ही है, उससे कम तो I'm not going to be happy? ये तो it's bullshit.
Yeah, it's kind of it's for the VC.
So the same thing is for the what the VC want is the same thing your parents wants for you to get married. It's not different.
Mhm.
You have to have certain money so that we can get you married to a good family. Blah blah blah. How is that different? That is not different. None of this is different. So your goal is also not your own. So how then you are saying that how will I accomplish the goal that is not my own by following my own instinct? I'm like, yes, you cannot because it's not your goal. If
Uh,
it's your goal, then it would have the same inclination that were part of you enjoying something. So I'm not saying practical matters don't exist, but you will solve the practical for yourself and it will not feel like work when you solve it. When a painter is doing 20,000 hours, Was he struggling or was he enjoying himself?
Most probably, most of them
Some
would be
people,
enjoying.
some people were struggling, some people were enjoying themselves, but we do not know who was struggling and who was enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
So this idea that you need to struggle is the biggest lie. That struggle is the biggest lie, because struggle is an imposition that I have to do this. Then you feel like struggling. But if you like to do this, then there is no struggle.
Interesting. And now let's look at the business world with this perspective. So the people who have accomplished or who have made it big. So when I say made it big, for Indian society, it could be doing somebody doing 30, 40, 50 million bootstrapped, and somebody in the US could be doing 100 million ARR in their business, and they could have, like, people call them they've made it. But somebody in tier three city could say that I've made $5 million. I make $5 million. Like, that's good enough for me. I'm the richest guy here. So of course, different perspective, different places, but that set mark that is there in everybody head. And can this be achieved, or is that achieved through that natural inclination, or people who have made it big, is that coming from this natural inclination that we're speaking with, or is it coming from that hard brute force that when people pitch to VCs, I'm gonna get you to
You
100
don't know.
million ARR?
You don't know that. You can talk to them and you may find out. So you can hard work your way into 30, 50 million also, right? A lot of successful people have hard work and they believe in the philosophy of hard work. You cannot make them unbelieve that. Most rich billionaires believe in hard work. They believe in making employees work very hard, and that is what they know. Even if they enjoyed it, let's say they enjoyed something and they were really enjoying it, they will still ascribe hard work because that is what society teaches. So it is
Yeah.
not very helpful to look at what people say, how they became successful. It is more helpful to see what they did, because that will give you a sense of how they were being rather than what they said, because what a human being says is very influenced by society, but how they acted in their career or whatever is who they are, right? So you look at people like Napoleon, you see how, forget what he ever said, Napoleon, Miyamoto Musashi, some great people, there was a certain quality to them. Then you see how they lived their life, you can make an inference of how they were approaching something, right?
Mhm.
uh, how a person explain, and now 30, 50 million is not a joke, and this person has accomplished something, and it's going to be a mix of different factors, that if they just come to you and say, oh, it was just hard work, I doubt it. I don't believe it. And even you can hard work into it, but what happens as a consequence of this hard work is you get divorced. Okay? You will get diseases. You have a terrible life. You have a terrible family life. You become an upset person. You're shouting at everybody all the time. People are upset with you. There are court cases. So many of these billionaires have court cases everywhere. Uh, that is a symptom of hard working. That is a symptom of struggling, because you are struggling so much you are not happy. So you look at the billionaires, you find the billionaires who are really happy. All these billionaires they're on their third marriages. Okay. Now, they may have been people when they were younger, they may have wanted to have a happy married life. What happened? They struggled. Why did they struggle? Compulsion. So it's your choice. You want to, you when you look at these people, look at their whole being, look at their whole lives, look at how much fun they had in their life, really, and how much harmony they have. And if you find the person, then you examine how they were being, and I would bet that they were having have fun. It was not out of compulsion.
Okay, so would you like to probably draw an example of anybody that you love? You love their journey, the way they have built their business, and you have also looked at their life journey as well, and you would have observed these markers. And I could I call them markers of joy and fun, because I think that's a reflection of the other side of the coin that you mentioned when you're shouting at everybody getting divorced. I think the other side of the coin could be fun, joyful, you're enjoying dancing and doing all those things.
It's very hard for me to. I don't follow people that much. And it's very hard for me to give you an example that this is a person that I feel he was enjoying, or this is a person who was not doing something out of compulsion. You can look at historical people. The reason I mentioned Napoleon is because this is a very brutal person, but uh, there are certain people who are true to their being. They are just being who they are. Okay, this is also being taught in Indian philosophy, Hindu philosophy as Swadharma. It is not different. We're not talking about different stuff. It is same root things. So it's very. I don't really like you. You can see all these business leaders. I've read their books when I was younger, but it's very hard to say. For example, I can point more examples of who I will not follow than who I can follow, because I hardly meet them, or I hardly see the people that I sort of really trust. But if I look at, for example, just off the top of my head, right, I will more likely listen to what a Robin Williams has to say than what a Ray Dalio has to say, because I can see markers of his work being about sort of very successful actor, and a lot of the stuff I just naturally feel was done out of some amount of joy of the art and complete immersion in the art, right? Even in business or in art, you will
Mm.
find people less immersed and more immersed. Some people are fully immersed, right? And they're loving it. So look at Gordon Ramsay. I feel like he's
Yeah.
closer to being more immersed, even though he has the issues of hard work.
Mhm.
Uh, you look at people like Anthony Bourdain. I don't know. So see, people are trying to figure this out, right? No, most people haven't figured it out, including me. But if I look at somebody like Ray Dalio,
Yeah.
I had bought his book called like 12 Principles or what,
Principles.
so
Yeah.
many principles. Like this is a rule book, and this is it's a recipe for compulsion. And if you look at the organization he created, people would tell on each other. They would call on the phone and complain about each other. Right? The culture. There were issues with the culture. No matter what he says, no matter how successful he became. You look at Amazon, look at the articles that have come about that company in New York Times about their culture. So yes, very successful. You can keep quoting Bezos and all of that, but look at the consequences for people are their health is deteriorating. So you cannot say I like Bezos, but I am a benevolent leader. I do not consider him a benevolent leader, and I'm openly saying it. You can put this on LinkedIn.
Now, from this, there's a deep rooted perspective which all of us, at least when I say all of us, maybe a lot of people that I meet. And I'll take a very small example. Yesterday, I was at SASCon happening here at Bangalore, and we met somebody who exited, I'll not take the name, from a $400 billion startup they exited, founding team. Must have made a lot of money. Maybe me and there were a couple of four people. We were in a group together, and we became fanboy of that guy. And we were like spoke with him for 45 minutes, and everybody that we said that he is the guy that we look up to. He's like, oh, I met this guy here in San Francisco. Oh, I met this guy, and we are not like, man. This is like all of us after this event, we were internally speaking like man, this guy is something we all wish to become. And by the way, the again talks about I met this person, this is what I learned from him, and this is the 5 tactics that we implemented 4 years back that led to this exit. And like he's quoting people all the time, and we're like, okay, that gentleman must have something amazing to talk about, and that will get us success. And all this brain, and I'll use a very rude word, brainwashing, gets all of us so confused. Now we do not know what to do, who to follow, or who to even listen to probably achieve what we want to do. And now the thing that we are speaking with is like kind of being a little laid back and following our natural inclination and doing what is true to ourselves, that authenticity point. So how should I, or a lot of people that I talk to were like literally bewildered with that, I want to do this, I want to do that, and astonished all the time.
Right.
Oh, this is the new tactic. Yeah, how we all approach this.
Please observe that everything that you are mentioning all books, all gurus, all teachers, all fanboyism, fangirlism,
Mhm.
voting for one politician or the other, thinking they're going to solve anything, is a movement outside or external to find something, is all a external movement, right? So these external movements, you can take, this is what I mean by experience. You can realize it today and say that these external movements are not going to help, or it may take you more time, like me, and lot of poor life experiences to realize these external movements were not helpful, or it can take you 1000 lifetimes or 3000 lifetimes, depending on how much your soul wants to do this drama. So all external movements are going to end in failure, okay, or dissatisfaction, and then you will be left with nothing but to investigate who you are, and accept that perhaps you are more than you think you are. And if you even accept that you are more than you think you are, you will stop shortchanging yourself by running after people, because they are not different. They don't have any more special sauce than you do. And why are you not making the special sauce that you were born to make?
That's so when you say we don't have anything missing in ourselves or we are greater than ourselves, is it something that we have to internalize? Is it something that we have to see, observe, experience? Or is it something that if I did believe this right now as just like maybe a belief, would it make that impact that you're speaking?
Saying that it is an unfolding. Okay? This, if you look at this universe mirror concept, this is a concept. So I'm using this as a crutch. Okay? But look at, when you examine your life, if there are things where you have done really well, excelled, enjoyed and excelled, you look at those moments and you try to see, how did I do this? I don't know. See, actually, you've already done something successfully compared to other people. Okay? Give yourself credit for those things. And then think, what made me do this? Other people are not doing this. There's some specific thing I did well, or maybe something I won, something in school. And then go. That is why there is a journey of, it is a journey of self exploration, right? Like follow your desire, follow your heart wherever it is leading you, because it is an unfolding of yourself, and that will give you the
Hmm.
exponential result. But if you follow somebody else, how will you unlock your potential? You are unlocking somebody else's potential.
Got the point. And this,
But you have to start with the belief in yourself that, see, why are you then? Why don't you just die? Matlab, you are alive because you feel like you are worth it, na?
Mhm.
So you are not. Are you just another robot sitting in your house? Other people are just part A, part B. That is not the case, na? You have some
Mhm.
dreams. That is why you are
Yeah.
doing this. You're not doing this for no reason. Even if outside of what your parents are saying, all these expectations, there is something that is driving you to do a podcast. There is something that is driving you to build a business. There is something that is driving you. So I'm just saying, honor that.
Perspective, interesting perspective. We'll shift gears from this perspective now. Uh, okay, now but let's shift towards little business side of things. Uh, uh, if you're okay, could we also talk about the GTM? How you think about go to market for Monetizely, and how you like in a business perspective think about it? Yeah.
I mean, we are very young in the company, so there's not much I can really say much about GTM. But GTM, what I have learned is not cookie cutter. In any company, GTM will actually be a consequence of how their founder operates. So some companies, the founders are very sales driven. They have been salespeople their whole life and relationship people. That is how they build their GTM. Strong sales teams, good relationships. They'll have the Rolodex of the whole industry. And good, that's very good. They should do that. There are some people who are product people. Okay? There will be these B2C apps like the Facebooks of the world and so on. They're very solid product people, and they build great products, and they know how to get the maximization of MAU, DAU, all of that. They're very detailed oriented, and they can do it. They know how, they have that inclination. So their company will reflect, their GTM will reflect it. They will end up making a product led company, and it will be a very successful company. So in my case, I'm more of a marketer. I always have been.
Mhm.
I'm more of a author. I'm more of a, thought leadership comes naturally to me. So I double down on it. So next week we are going to finish the second edition of my book on pricing. Then we'll have a few speaking events. Then that is why I did the podcast. We may start doing more events. And was from authority built from thought leadership is my hypothesis that will create inbound. So a lot of my expectation is that inbound will work, even though I think we do also need outbound. And we know we need the other things, but the nature of your GTM engine naturally will be a function of your founding team. And it's not a bad thing. You are basically focusing on your strengths. And I'm saying that there is no one answer. Like with different companies will have different answers to GTM. It is actually how their founders are more capable on one thing or the other is what they will do, and then they may try to learn other things. So I'm trying to learn better selling. Okay, I'm not a great salesperson, but I'm willing to learn it, and it is enjoyable, even that act of learning. And every founder, I think, to a certain extent, has to be a seller and close business. uh, and so there are things that you have to learn as well. And I so in that sense, there will be one strong area, and there will be other areas that will have to be built. But then other parts of GTM is just basics. We have Right now we're going to operate as a consulting company, so we have to be in the right places. We have to get the similar to as in any other B2B or software.
And I think I quite resonate with this idea. I'm kind of following the same path for Utkarsh as well. There's one thing which is quite beautiful, and you said that leadership, authority, and all those things comes natural to you, and that's why I think some amazing content out there on YouTube from you, some amazing content on LinkedIn, and something on Forbes was also there. So all of this is just you again following your natural inclination. While the outcome is you getting customers. Is that I'm seeing it right? Okay. Now,
For the most part.
yeah.
But I would not say that my I have been fully pure in this approach either, right? I cannot say that. There are reasons why I did the folk stuff or the book that are less about just me wanting to do it. There are some compulsion factors that even I had in my life, because of which I did it. And then it was sort of like making lemonade out of a lemon, and those
Mhm.
things were helpful for other things. But I'm just saying that I am not some great saint living on a hill who has all figured out. Even there were some calculations in some of the stuff I did as well.
Mhm. And this from leadership authority, there's a lot of content on your LinkedIn, on YouTube, which is like hardcore about pricing, packaging, and then there are things in middle, which is I see them as so the writings which are very technical is something, of course have spent some time reading them, but there's lack of perspective I have, so I just consume it like probably a child. Now there are things which are very curious, like I'll just kind of pick up a post that where you're talking about the dragon, right? I don't know if you recall that.
Yeah.
Now these things, if somebody like me or anybody who's entrepreneurial would love to follow you, would love to follow your content, would go about reading it, they would be for a moment astonished and might be maybe flabbergasted by what is this such a complex post doing in pricing up and down, like a video, a podcast, and this is in the middle, which talks about life, which talks about how to think about life, how Newtonian physics is what we all are going after, and this is shit, like this is bullshit. So like how, like why first of all you are doing this, because
Yeah.
does it like first of all, why we are doing this, and then I'll jump to the second part of the question.
So it's just same thing I told you before, like natural inclination. My
Okay,
natural,
that's nothing to do with business. That's just you finding time to write.
I feel like business is very. I think business needs to be done on its head. That is my meta agenda.
What do you mean by that?
Business operates through straitjackets. Business doesn't operate from the heart. Business operates through shoulds. A lot of business does operate from the heart, but you don't hear about it. You hear about the hard work. So my agenda is that uh, there is another way to do things, and in the way we run the company, in the way we want, uh, Akhil and I always had this goal that we want to grow their career, but them also to be very driven to improve. So self transformation is important to us for everybody who we work with. Whether we make money, don't make money, is all good. But if we did this business and we had some hundreds of disgruntled employees, we will not be happy with ourselves. This is not why we are doing it. So this is very clear to us. The day we started the business, now whether the business remains in its current state, changes or whatever, self transformation was at the key. So other people may have other things. So this is why I talk about these things, because those things are the genesis of our philosophy about the business. Every business will have
Is this pragmatic? Like, is this idea pragmatic?
this. What is pragmatic? What is the meaning of
So pragmatic is the word business itself means that you exist to make money for your investors, for your stakeholders, and to make money.
who
Sorry,
created this? Where is this definition coming from?
I mean that's a general
Well, I
understanding.
can give you another definition of business is a business that is meant to serve others, and through that, you are all fulfilled in some way. It will also make money.
Okay, so when you say it also, can I say it? It's secondary.
Uh, See, money. So the problem in the first definition is that money, which is a proxy, you create it as a primary unit, right? You say it is all just about energy. I'm saying I respect money. This is why I'm in the business of pricing. I am, 100% behind money. Money is the number one currency by which we figure out how our energy exchange has happened. And I've given you value, and you received value, so I become rich. Okay? It is money is a very spiritual thing. But I'm saying
Wow, that's a discussion for another debate.
no, I highly respect money. Okay? Money is very important. But I am saying that if I were to make money as the target, I may end up doing things that I may not want to do. Okay? If I just want to make money, I may do short-sighted things. I may not. Yesterday we increased somebody's salary uh, reasonably well, where I just felt that the person was not getting paid fairly. Now, if I was to have the opinion that, oh, I have to conserve all the money, save all the money, and I was to be very buttoned down about it, I would not have done it. So that is where I feel I have a bet. See, the bet is that if people feel more fulfilled and it is built out of fairness, that the fairness will come back to me and it will help the business. Now, lot of business leaders will also say this to you. It's not just me. Lot of business leaders fully operate like this. They say pay our people. Even Ray Dalio says it. Okay. Uh, they fairness is very key, and people look at Rockefeller and all of these people. These people talk about the same stuff I am talking about. They are saying you give to get. Okay. These are people are not saying you hold. So look at the billionaires. They are also saying the same stuff I am. They are not saying different things. So I'm saying when you define something that I just want to make money, you will operate a little bit differently. We are all in business. We are all in business to make money. I want to be rich also. I also want to have $100 million. There no be no doubt. If I'm going to pitch to a venture capitalist, whatever, I will have a vision and I will want to accomplish it, but it will come more from, it is all, I'm just saying that there are some things, that some philosophy, every business has a philosophy, regardless of how they how they are in the market, and that reflects. So my philosophy reflects like this. If you look at even like a person like Reed Dalio who's putting his philosophy out there, right? He is very big into truth. Now, I am big pro.
But you should see what he has spoken about, how he has handled his young days at Bridgewaters, and
Sure.
you should also listen to how Rockefeller acquired his wealth in the initial days. You should listen to a lot of podcasts available, a lot of content available of what real things, dirty things have happened
Yeah,
to make
right.
things happen.
So that is philosophy, right? I am not wanting to do any dirty things. Okay, that is a hard line for me. Never will I do it because I know it all comes back. Uh, so they want to do it, good. I am not sure that will reflect in other parts of your life. So this is all philosophy, right? I'm just saying every business is going to have philosophy. My philosophy comes out in my blog posts along with the
Mhm.
pricing stuff. It is all working together. Okay, other people also have philosophies. They may just not be speaking very openly about their philosophies. I am just more, I am trying to integrate my philosophy and the business. I don't have it all figured out. All I'm pointing out to you is that other people also have their philosophies. And
Mhm.
they are also running business with some operating system that is driving the money to be made. But money itself is not an operating system. Money itself is the output of that operating system.
So there is one thing that you mentioned. Money is spiritual, and there's one interesting thing, and it's obvious to me also. At least in theory, it seems obvious that how much money you make is a reflection of how much value you create for the society. Is that what we're talking about? How these two ideas relate to each other, and how anybody or any specifically, I'm talking about the young ones specifically who are starting out in their career, who are building their businesses, how should they integrate this essential part while they build their business, so whatever they're trying to do, they kind of accomplish this little faster, be a little more joyful and happy about while they do all of this.
I mean, as I said, I'm also figuring it out, but the recognition is that just basically understanding money, right? Like understanding how money happens in your life is important. So money can happen in your life through multiple ways. One way is I feel a lack of money, therefore universe will reflect that. Then I will continue in my lack. Then what will I do? I will steal some way. Okay? Then I can get money. That is one level of getting money. The I'm just telling you these are your options as a young person. ठीक है और I may feel I am a king. ठीक है I am a king. I deserve all the money in the world. In universe keeps you happy on its own. And then because you feel like this, you have no troubles. You feel like a king. Always money will be with you. You get all the promotions. Your business succeeds. You don't even know how it happened. I'm saying there are dichotomies, and then there are people, and I'm somewhere in this middle, right? I'm like sometimes I feel lack, but I know if I feel lack, good is not going to happen. So and value creation, all of those things I know that those are very practical ways of, if I that then there is a practical element of this. I can feel like a king, but if I'm not adding any value, nothing is going to come back.
Yeah.
I may,
Yeah.
but so there is a level of being, and then what value am I offering? Am I creating any value for others that I will get back? Even if you are like donating money somewhere, helping somebody, that also somewhere you will get back. And if you're not doing it for that purpose, so whatever value you are creating in the world, that value you will somehow get back in your life. That is a business, and so you can. Uh, if you focus the business on am I creating value, which is the fundamental layer of business that we talked about, right?
That's how I also think about.
Yeah, I'm talking about some deeper layers, but at that layer, regardless of whatever is my base operating system, everybody sort of agrees that unless we create value, we cannot get the the return, right? That is there. Unless my clients are getting the value, I will not make money. So that is that there is no rocket science there. Every business is working. Even the tea seller is creating value. The
Yeah.
person is creating value. Everybody is creating value.
And and the way this I call it leverage or you call it value is perceived or respected among your target audience is the way you get paid, right?
Perception,
So
yes.
let's say, yeah,
So
yeah, so
perception is
yeah,
important because so now here we come into this domain of hard work versus no hard work. Okay. So let's say you are an Olympic athlete. I spoke with you for 15 minutes and I really figured out your main problem and you went on to win 5 gold medals. I created so much value, right? This is the leverage. Versus I did a commoditized thing. I did a commoditized thing that is everybody else can do, which is, there is a lot of like, think of labor jobs. There's nothing wrong in a labor job, but it is a hard working job. There is no leverage in that job because it is commoditized. Therefore, you're getting paid less. This is just principles of pricing. This is so this is also this is reflecting in the value you will get back. So this is true leverage to find where it is all perception, right? Perception and the how much valuable it was for the other party.
how much valuable it was perceived, even if let's say uh, you sell a service or a product which is a function of the top line of decline, let's say, even if they, let's say, they were like doing, let's say, 30 million in the revenue and you made, let's say, a dent, 2% dent, right? Maybe if they would not have came to you, they would have naturally gone there. Let's say in 6 months, you got them in 2 months. For them, it is like really a high perceived value thing. Now, let's say this is the value that they see, and in their mind, the entire team sees it like this, and then everybody's talking about you. The referral happens, and the inbound leads, and the entire
Right.
things happen. Now, the perceived thing is a function of the individual. How well he felt while he spoke to you, not the 2% dent you took.
Agree.
Now, that perceived value will make a difference for you, not the real value. The real was 2%.
Agree.
What could have happened for you in 2 years happened in 2 months for you because of those referrals and guy,
Agree.
the big shot guy did for you.
Agree.
Now, how do anybody capture that thing? Because that's like the most rewarding thing I see we can
It
do.
is just the understanding, no? You just explained it well. If you understand it, then you will understand how is captured. Value is in the eye of the beholder. So if you understand it, you are going to focus on the relationship. You are going to focus that the person is not pissed off. You are going to focus that you will check in more often than not. Okay. One
Mhm.
way to sell a product is this is the product, use it.
Mhm.
I'm gone. Bye. Okay. And the other way to do it is I remember the Medallion days, which was my first company after grad school. We were very focused on customer success. Okay. We had the one of the best customer success teams, implementation teams, and customer coming from the customer understanding them was deeply rooted. And this is a very big challenge in the valley because there are very product focused companies out there. Let's say ये product बन गया, like take this product and we'll give you some support. But if you really understand the perception point, right, you will make sure that you are creating the full product. If there is a concept in product management called whole product rather than just the product, you will solve the whole product problem rather than just the product problem, because whole product includes them being successful, them being confident, them being able to solve a real problem, and then being happy with you. Versus you say this is a tool, you can do your thing. You bought a tool, I give you a tool. What if they are not able to use it? Whose problem is that? Actually, it's your problem because they were not able to use it or they got confused or whatever, right? So whether you solve it through help manual or docs or manually talking to them, you own the problem, and you own the problem because perception creates value, and there is a brand element to it also. When you create a brand is a feeling, right? Like a brand is, I went with McKinsey. Why did you go with McKinsey? Because McKinsey now I feel like are such a top company. I am paying a premium for the mental peace that it is McKinsey, so I've done the best I can. There is no better standard. You will do it with a doctor, you will find the best
Yeah.
doctor. But there will be other doctors who are pretty good.
I think this is rooted in our biology when, resources were so scarce that human beings can only make good decisions by listening to people they trust. So that's that's where this is coming from. But this is like a lot of bullshit is there in the world today.
Right. So that happens with in the internet age. That is happening more often. Right. Even if you are a physical store, location can help, but now with reviews, people go to the best restaurant or the best whatever, right? And winner takes all is the dynamic that tends to happen, whether it is word of mouth or whether it is through internet. Internet actually accelerates winner takes all dynamics.
Perfect. Got the point. Very important.